Hey Virgos, and welcome to your February 2019 General Tarot Forecast. This is Sky here to give you guys hopefully another amazing reading for your month ahead. I hope you're feeling okay, and I hope that you are enjoying yourself as we come into this strongly ending time. We are moving towards the astrological new year in March, and February collectively represents a strong ending phase. So I'm not surprised to see the cards that I see in your reading, Ten of Swords, Three of Swords, Five of Cups, Five of Swords, the Lovers reversed. I mean, this could feel a bit catastrophic in a way, but I don't think that it's now. I don't think that it's present. I don't think you're dealing with catastrophe or trauma in the present. In fact, I feel like a lot of Virgos have actually come into a new sense of thriving and a new sense of feeling really good. Most Virgos that I've known in person, as well as clients that I've worked with, have really seen an increase in their life and have really seen new happiness, new relationships, new foliage, new leaves, turning a new leaf over. And you might ask yourself, like, why, if I'm coming into that type of energy, would there be these types of heavy archetypes coming up? And that, to me, is because it represents the previous year that you went through, and you do start to see, as things start to come more into order, that the things which were pulling you down before still have to be dealt with and still have to be let go of. I do feel like February is a month where it's so vital for you to trust yourself and for you to no longer be doubting your wants, your desires, your choices. I like how Five of Swords and Five of Cups are reversed. To me, it says that that cycle of, like, again, very chaotic five energy is ending and being seen through now. And with Ten of Swords being upright, it says to me that that's that ending phase again. So I feel like February can truly be the end to this difficult chapter that you've been through, Virgo, and that I know that pretty much all Virgos have been going through in this year of 2018. You guys have had some of the more consistently difficult energies coming up, and January really saw a change in that, but I'm not surprised for February to reintroduce it a little bit, just because it's sort of a testing period for you where it's like, do you really want to let go of it? Do you really want to change? Do you really want to have a different type of life? And will you allow yourself to not be, what do I want to say? To not be convinced by those, like, again, Five of Swords, Five of Cups, reversed energy, that, am I being betrayed? Can I allow this to not be, such a grieving situation when it isn't really? Like, can you see through those types of old patterns and allow that ending, really allow that final breath with those old cycles of paranoia, guilt, pain, insatiability, really seeing the new possibilities here, the new prospects that come in. And especially in March, you'll see in March that it really magnifies once more, especially if you can no longer be swayed by these, sometimes habitual actions of suffering. So making suffering habitual and, seeing that no longer do you have to suffer, but will you allow yourself not to? Those are the types of things that I feel get tried in February. So it feels easy, though. It feels easy to not suffer. It feels easy to not, to enjoy your life and to really be like a pearl in the oyster, per se. It feels like the world can be your oyster this month, so don't let that become an experience of suffering if you can help it. There's a really good opportunity for emotional growth here. I looked at that King of Cups, at the bottom right of your reading. It's one of the only upright, healthy energies in this reading, and to me that says that you can overcome all of this through new forms of emotional growth. So seeing things in hindsight in a new way, reacting in new ways to old stimulus, not being afraid of your own emotions, not being afraid of your own reactions, and not feeling out of control with them, like really feeling like you have control, you have, autonomy in your life, you have the ability to rise above that. And with Knight of Cups as your central theme as well, there's truly like a watery energy coming in for you all, and it makes sense. We're going into Pisces time, which is your opposite sign in February, so there's going to be a sense of stronger emotions, more sensitivity. Okay, so be prepared for that, and that can definitely spur a reemergence of these, old habits of suffering, old habits of grieving. But I really want you to see it before it comes on, and I want you to see situations that you might associate with something like that, and I want you to ask yourself, is this the right reaction now? Is this the right way to feel now? Or is there sort of a new way of navigating this here and now? And I think that there will be, for sure. Again, Knight of Cups also says not to be too flamboyant with your emotions. It says to be a little bit guarded, and we're not talking about repressing. We're not talking about being secretive. But be careful who you're choosing to speak your truth and vulnerability to. Have they deserved it? Likewise, give that to people who do deserve it. Sometimes with Knight of Cups coming up, it can say that you're giving your vulnerability to people who you can't necessarily trust with it, yet for some reason you don't give it to the ones you can. So really understanding who you can be vulnerably close with. Friend groups are redoing themselves, I feel. New relationships, new family ties, new family connections. It's all sort of shifting up and changing, and people are sort of coming into new alignments with you. So think about who you're being vulnerable with, and think about if it's right, and you should know pretty clearly the answer. Anyway, Virgos, I'm going to go ahead and get into the week to week, and we'll understand more about this highly sensitized, highly emotionally evolving month for you. Week number 1, you have 3 of Swords rooted down by the World reversed. So some of you can feel a bit brokenhearted here. Also, some of you can be able to release brokenhearted energy very easily. To me, that says that you can have the ending chapter of a heartbreak. So 3 of Swords comes up and the World is reversed. The World is the very last card in the major arcana. It often represents a very finite, final ending. So is it maybe time to have an ending to that cycle of heartbreak? Is it time to leave the relationship that doesn't give you anything? Is it time to start to formulate a path where you can feel much happier and much more ease in your life? Sometimes with the World reversed, it can also represent that we're stretching out the ending. So we're not wanting to let go of something. We're not wanting to give up. We're not wanting to be done quite yet. Yet 3 of Swords is still there. So if 3 of Swords goes away, I feel like you can keep going with things, but don't stretch things out longer than they need to be. Don't waste your time, Virgo. There's something about that feels to me like time wasting. Don't waste your time on people who just give you 3 of Swords. Don't try to make things work with people that only are harsh and sharp with you. You need comfort, you need softness, you need ease right now. There's a lot of sharpness in this reading. 10 of Swords, 5 of Swords, 3 of Swords, the sharpest of the Swords cards to me. So there's, like, people are a little bit rough with you this month if you can't assert your boundaries. Likewise, you're also super sensitive, so things that aren't necessarily meant to be sharp can be interpreted sharply. Definitely sit with that and think about how you interpret things and how you process things. You've grown too much to process something that's not meant to be hurtful as something that is an attack. Don't be quick to assume you're being attacked when you actually know that you're not. It won't be a nice look on Virgo this month. Week number 2, you have the Lovers reversed, rooted down by 10 of Swords. You might feel a little bit stuck. You might feel like there's important decisions to be made, but you're not finding yourself in the right space to make them. I don't think it has to be that bad. I don't think that things need to feel too frustrating during that time, because 10 of Swords, the bright side of it is that this is over. You know, this situation which is stabbing you in the back or feeling like betrayal is over. Likewise, the choices that you have to make can now begin the process of becoming, easy. Virgo's not had the easiest of choices to make. There's been a lot of hard choices for you over the last year, and you might be just sort of sitting in hindsight. I do see that as seeing what happened before, what happened over the last year, the choices that you've made and the decisions that you've made. And likewise, I see you letting go of that. I see you letting go of any resentment that you held towards others or yourself. Forgiving. That's a good week for forgiveness. There's something about that energy that evokes forgiveness to me. So forgiving people who deserve that in your life, and also forgiving yourself for setting up environments or situations which are hard to handle, to put it simply, and learning those lessons, yet being able to move on and not holding it against yourself. Week number 3, 5 of Swords reversed, rooted down by the Chariot reversed. So you want to make progress. You want quick motion there. It doesn't come until March. Okay, quick progress, sudden change, sudden transformation for Virgo is more looking towards March to me during the astrological new year. Although, it could, for those of you on like the Leo Virgo cusp, you could see that then, because again, the sun is opposite you and starting to be during that time. But for those of you more further ahead in the Virgo energy, I would say wait till March to like really expect something to really change. And also, with the Chariot reversed, it can be a warning sign to not try to move too quickly, to not try to, be navigating too sloppily. 5 of Swords also says to me that new people or people that have just entered. Not that you can't trust them, but you need to vet people. You need to know who you're dealing with. You need to understand how you're being honored, how you're being validated. And if that Five of Swords is pointing more back to you rather than someone else, what what does victory mean to you right now? Is there an argumentative streak? Is there a need to see yourself victorious or a need to see yourself gaining at the expense of others? I don't necessarily think that there is, and that would be a small percentage of you. But one way or another, I feel like you're dealing with that, whether it be from you or from someone around you. Likewise, it could just represent a need for more action. Sometimes Five of Swords reversed to me can just be like a stifling energy or a sense of like, not being able to get enough stimulation. So like exercising could be good, competition could be good, as long as you don't get like way over ego invested into it, because that can also be a sign with Five of Swords. It's just like the ego is quite fragile and delicate, but it's like huge at the same time. Just watch out for that. Third week, like don't like see yourself moving slowly or see yourself making slow progress and be like, oh, this makes me worse than anybody else, this means that I'm like losing or something. Again, like slow and steady wins the race, Virgo. Don't worry about it. Week number 4, Five of Cups reversed, rooted down by King of Cups. Again, that water energy. We're getting into Pisces time there. This is such an important time for your emotional healing process, Virgo. As we move into the 4th week of February and we move through the first 2 weeks of March, your emotional healing that has to happen during that time is vital. So I need you guys to understand that, and I need you guys to get to the 4th week of February realizing that this isn't necessarily a time to be taking emotional risks. This isn't necessarily a time to be gambling with who you trust, to be gambling with who you sling your vulnerability at, to be gambling with who is going to be responsible for you and your well-being. This is a time to do the tried and true thing. Saturn is doing kind of a funny thing here during this time in Capricorn, especially for those of you around mid-range Virgo time. So like 10 to 15 degrees of Virgo, like a beginning of September to like a September 10th for those of you born during that time. This is such an important time for getting it together, getting things in order. I've talked collectively for everyone this month about like how much of a period of time February is relating to getting things in order, relating to really making sure all the I's are dotted, all the T's are crossed, really not having any excuses to avoid that. And the only red flag that I see in this reading are excuses to avoid these simple things. You can see that a grieving process or past trauma or new people coming in and not really understanding or trusting, you can see that those things take up a lot of time, and those things like take up a lot of energy, and you see yourself like not really getting things in order. So really don't allow, if you can, these old emotional things at least to prevent you from like getting your present situation in order. Knight of Cups is your central theme. Again, Virgos, I keep seeing this weird mental image of you like throwing vulnerability at people, or you like throwing emotional investment at people. And I think this is a past thing, and you're called in this time to see that and to see how valuable your investment is, how valuable your connection points are, and to not just be slinging them out at people, to be a bit more conservative with how you invest your energy. And I think that that's the beautiful thing about February. I like kind of how Knight of Cups sums all of this up. What you want to watch out for is not just becoming like a secretive, cold, bitter person, okay? Warmness, Virgo. We've got Jupiter in Sag. We will be moving into Aries time soon enough. We're building up towards warmth. So the positive way to use that energy is to have more intelligence building about who, when, who, how, and at what point you invest emotionally. Okay, that's what needs to come through during this time. Not, okay, I don't trust anybody, therefore I'm just going to become a cold, frigid person who is uncaring and unemotional and secretive. And, I got in a fight with my partner the other day about this because I was honest, therefore now I'm just going to start lying to avoid that. That can be a negative side of Knight of Cups. It's like, it's a lazy energy sometimes when it comes to emotions, and it's a fearful energy sometimes when it comes to emotions. So it would rather lie and scheme to not have to face conflict or confrontation. Yet it wouldn't even think about sometimes, changing its own actions, or understanding that if there is an incongruency, that maybe the relationship needs to end. I don't know, that's just sort of channeling out. So think about that, Virgo. Think about like if there's this incongruency, maybe it's time for an ending versus lying and scheming. That's gonna also be for like people who are like with you. Are you around people who are secretive? Are you around people who are not telling you the truth? It will be obvious if so during this time. But one way or another, that can be such an incredible archetype in its healthy version, Knight of Cups, to understand where your emotions go, when they're appropriate, how they can motivate you, when they unmotivate you, and like really being able to get back into the driver's seat with your emotional motivation as a person. That's beautiful. Something that you've needed for so long. Don't freak out about some of these heavier feelings that come in. Most of you, I feel like a good 75% of you, which is a huge percentage, have already sort of entered into a new paradigm, have already entered into a new happiness. In which case, congratulations. Don't worry about these weird things that are coming up. Just be alert, be clear on what it means and what it impacts into your emotions. And for those of you who, that other 25% who feel like you haven't had a new leaf turnover, it's honestly even better for you because you're not going to feel like you have much to risk during this time, so it's going to be easier to face those emotional things. One way or another, look forward to March as a strong continuation of this new leaf and this new purpose. Okay, Virgo, I'm trusting in you. I feel like this is a time where Virgo like only works on themselves. This is a time where Virgo like isn't relying on other people to like come through for them. This is a time where like Virgo isn't distracting themselves with drinks or promiscuity or like old habitual cycles. Like this is a time where Virgo gets real with themselves and like faces everything in clarity and really makes some like choices that impact their life positively for the next few years to come. So that's a lot of pressure, but at the same time, it's like incredible to see you walking through your path, no longer claiming some type of archetypal role that prevents you from being able to grow. So enjoy the growth, Virgo. I'm rooting for you. Your energy, it inspires me. It inspires me what you're going through and how you're working with it and how you're choosing growth over stagnation at this point in time. It does inspire me a lot. Congratulations, Virgo. If you guys would like to see your 2019 year ahead reading, you can click the center of your screen now. I so enjoyed working on that series, and I hope that you'll get to click it. I think some of you haven't gotten to see it yet, so be sure to jump over there and check that out. And likewise, you can check the description box below. I'm on social media. Your likes, comments, and subscribes make my day. I'm rooting for you all. Great job with what's coming in this month, and I look forward to seeing something even brighter, stronger, and more fiery coming in soon. Bye.